Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. So today we're going to be doing a requested look. This is going to be a natural everyday kind of look, and yeah, it's using some drugstore products and some higher end makeup, but the person that requested it actually is using the IT Cosmetics foundation and concealer, so I really wanted to do this one for her. So thank you so much for requesting that. I love when people request videos. I hope this helps you, and if it doesn't, let me know and I will definitely make another one. So yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and always be you. And if you find this video helpful, I would really appreciate if you share it and spread the word about my channel if any of my videos have helped you. And if there's anything else that you would like to see, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. But for now, that's all. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and let's get on to it. So I already have on a little bit of leftover moisturizer from earlier today, and that is the e.l.f. Nourishing Night Cream. Technically, this is a night cream like it says, but I like to use this all throughout the day to add some moisture to my skin. And then to go ahead and start off the makeup look, I'm going to take the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe and rose water and herbs. I'm loving this stuff. I just recently purchased it, but I think it works wonderful. And I just like giving myself quite a bit of a spray on the face with it. And then I'm going to take my Real Techniques blending sponge and work it into the skin. So for today, normally I would go ahead and do my foundation first, but we're going to conceal first today because I want it to look more natural. And I'm going to use the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye. This is a anti-aging waterproof concealer, and it's very full coverage, so I just took a little bit on the back of my hand, and this is a very thick concealer, so a little bit goes a long way. The person who requested this video actually said that they had just bought some IT Cosmetics products. That's why we're going to be using IT Cosmetics today. But if you would like to see a drugstore version of this, make sure to leave it in the comments below, and I'll be sure to get that up as well. So again, I'm just going to use the Real Techniques sponge, and I'm going to push this into the skin. This Real Techniques sponge makes all the difference when applying your makeup. You can use this or the Beauty Blender. I personally love both of them, but I purchase these more often because they're much more affordable. These are only like $4.99, I think, or something like that, and they last quite a while. All you have to do to use it is get it damp, like run it under some water. Make sure you fill it up so it expands real big, and then squeeze out all the excess water, and boom, you have an amazing tool to put your makeup on with. So for this concealer, I'm going to go ahead and put it on my eyelids as well, just to help cancel out some of the redness and veins up there. And I'm also just going to go on and drag it out wherever I see fit, like around my nose is always quite red, so we're going to drag it there as well. And then I've got a lot of redness on my cheeks, but we'll take care of that with some foundation. Now for foundation, again, I'm going to be using the IT Cosmetics brand, but any foundation that you have will work. I personally like a very light coverage foundation on the days where I'm going to do a more natural look, but this one is actually full coverage. It's the IT Cosmetics CC Cream, so if you want to sheer it down some, you could go ahead and mix a little bit of moisturizer with it, which is what I plan on doing. So the moisturizer that I'm going to mix it with is actually the Pond's Anti-Wrinkle Cream, and I'm just going to take a tiny little bit of this and mix it in with the CC Cream to help sheer it out just a little bit. So you can see I've almost got equal parts of the foundation and the wrinkle cream. So I'm just going to mix those together on the back of my hand and then start dotting it all over my face. So we're just going to go ahead and blend this foundation in, and then we'll continue on with the rest of the makeup. And like I said, that's actually quite a full coverage foundation, but because we did sheer it out, you can still see some of my skin peeking through, like you can see a little bit of redness. We're going to go ahead and move on to powder now. Powder, again, is something that you're not going to have to worry about setting your entire face. If you're wanting a more natural look, you might want it to be a little more glowy. Make sure that you set all the areas where you are the most oily throughout the day, because it is going to make a big difference. Like I get oily right here around my nose, so I'm going to make sure to set that with powder very well. I don't know if you can see the difference between each eye, But on this side, I went ahead and set it in place. You don't have to set your entire face with powder. That's up to you if you want to. For my more natural days, I like to just set the middle of my face and then not worry about the outside of my face. It just makes it look a little more natural. But around my inner part is where I get more oily, so I do like to make sure that I set that. And my under eyes especially, I need to go ahead and get rid of the wrinkles and the creases. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the Airspun translucent powder on this wet sponge, and I'm just going to go ahead and apply that all in that area, and that's going to help prevent it from creasing up again. And this may look like a little bit cakey right now. I'm not going to leave it on for any amount of time. Once I get it on there, I'm just going to go ahead and dust it right back off. I'm going to take just a barely any amount of powder, and I'm going to push that onto the forehead and my chin as well, because like I said, that's the places where I tend to get the most oily throughout the day. Okay, now that I've got the whole face set in place, I'm going to go ahead and contour a little bit. When I contour, I actually like to use my bronzer, but the bronzer that I use is more cool toned. I like using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. This is a perfect medium between a cool toned and a warm toned bronzer. If you are fair like me and you use one that is going to be more warm toned, it's going to make you look quite orange. But if you go with a lighter shade like this, a more cool toned shade, it's going to help you contour and it's going to help complement your skin. So to apply this, I'm going to take this Luxie 660 Precision Foundation Brush. Any kind of more flat, dense brush is going to work really well for this. And I'm just going to really load it up with some product. And then you can suck in your cheekbones, and that's going to show you where you need to contour. So I need to do it right about here. That's going to give me the most natural looking contour. And you can see this is a very light shade. It's not doing a whole lot of damage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that to both sides of my face to carve out my cheekbones. And I'm also going to take it here around my hairline as well, because that's where the sun would naturally hit you, so you would be darker in that area. And when I do this, I like to go over it first with a more precise brush like this, and then I like to go over it again with a more fluffy brush, just to really help blend it out. I also like to drag it down here on my chin to help conceal my double chin-ness. And then I will just barely dip my brush into it like one time like that, tap it off, and then kind of go back and forth on my nose, because when you have foundation and stuff on your nose, it kind of sinks it into the rest of your face, but putting some bronzer on there is going to help bring it back out. Get rid of the creases on your eyelids. I just like to take my Real Techniques sponge to do that, just clean them up, and then take a little bit more powder and set that in place too. And again, this is going to look a little bit cakey for a second, but it's worth it because your eyelids are not going to crease up later on. And then I just again like to go ahead and get rid of the excess powder here, and we're going to work on brows. And for me, I find that a more natural looking brow comes easiest with a pencil. This is the Almay Brow Defining Pencil in the shade 802 Brunette. I love this thing. It has a very fine tip on it. There are lots of other drugstore brands that you can use as well. NYX makes one that's really good. I love theirs. I can't think of them right now, but I'm sure I will once this video goes off. But I know NYX makes one that I really like, and then this one right now is my favorite. I'm on my last one of them though. I need to go pick up another one. But to do my brows, first I like to just go under here and draw a line right where my natural brows are. I'll zoom you in a little bit. So I draw a line up to where my arch is, and then I kind of start coming back down. And I don't have a whole lot of hair out here on the outer part of my eye to work with, so I just kind of fake it. Gotta fake it till you make it. And it's pretty easy to fill in. And then I do the same thing on the top, but I don't go all the way in here. I start about right here and start drawing the line to connect the dots. And then I just fill it in from there. And I like to use very light little short strokes. It makes them look more natural. And then towards the front, I just come through here and draw a few upward strokes. Again, that helps them look more natural as well. So that's one brow pretty much done. I always come back through with the spoolie on the end of it though and comb through to make sure that it's not harsh looking and make sure it's all blended together. But you can see a huge difference in each eye. This one is way more defined now. So I'm going to do this one and I'll be right back. For me, brows are one of the most powerful things that you can do for your makeup, so I always try to start with those first before I do eyeshadow or anything. It just really wakes you up and makes you look more youthful. Fuller brows to me just look so youthful for some reason. I don't know how to explain it. So once I have my brows done, if I'm doing a more natural look, I personally just like to take whatever bronzer that I'm using, which is pretty much always this one, and I just take it on a fluffy shadow brush. This one is by Wet n Wild. You can use a crease brush, you can use whatever kind of brush, and I really load up my brush with the bronzer and tap it off just a little bit, and then I put this right in my crease. This is just going to add a little bit of definition. If you use a darker bronzer, it's going to add that much more definition, but I personally really like this one because it gives just enough. I'm also going to take a little smudger brush like this and dip it right into the product on the very end, and I'm going to place that on the lower lash line as well. And you can definitely leave the eyeshadow like that if you want to. Ignore my eye, it twitches constantly. I don't know if you guys can pick it up or not, but it is twitching right now and I'm sorry about that. But if you want to take it one step farther, you can actually go ahead and add some shimmer on the lid, which is probably what I'm going to do just because I like a little bit of shimmer on the lid. So to do that, I'm going to take the LA Colors contour palette. You can actually use this as your contour as well. There's a shade in here that's quite similar to the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm going to take this more pinky shade. That's the only shimmery shade in here. And I'm going to take it on my finger actually and just put it right on the lid just to give it a little bit of something. And then I'm just going to take the same brush that I used to put the bronzer on my eyes with, and I'm going to pick that shade up and put it under the brow bone. There's also a shade in this palette right here that you can use if you want to darken up your lash line just to give it a little bit more definition, but you don't want to wear eyeliner. You can just take this and put it right here on the outer part of your eyelid, and that's going to help add some definition as well. So we're not going to be adding any liner today, but for mascara I'm going to take my favorite drugstore one, which is the Maybelline Falsies Effect. I really love this one and the L'Oreal Voluminous Million Lashes. Those are my two favorites. I'm just going to apply a couple of coats of it and call that done. For blush, I'm going to take the shade Mellow Wine by Wet n Wild. I'm going to take a very small dip into that and tap it off, and I'm going to put this right onto the apples of my cheeks to give me a little bit more color. This step is totally skippable. Forever I didn't even wear blush, and a lot of the times I still don't because I spend so much time covering up my redness that I don't want to bring it back and bring more attention to it. But I'm just going to apply just the littlest amount to my cheeks to bring a little bit of color back. And then I'm also going to go ahead and pick up this highlight shade right here. I'm going to pick that up on the e.l.f. highlighting brush, and I'm going to dust it right on my cheekbones. You can skip this step if you want to, if you don't like the super glowy look. I'm going to run a little bit down my nose. That's pretty much it for the face. So now for some lipstick, I'm just going to take the Natural Shine lipstick by LA Colors. You can pick this up at Dollar Tree pretty much any day of the week. This is my favorite nude lipstick. I use it almost every single time that I wear lipstick. I would even not wear lipstick today. I would just put on some chapstick and be done. But if you're wanting to cover up your lips with something, you could go ahead and apply this. It gives them a little bit of a hint of color without overdoing it. Alright guys, and that's going to be it for this natural looking makeup. I really hope that you enjoyed it and found it helpful. If you did, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you would like to, please make sure to share my video. I would really appreciate that. If it helped you, it may help somebody else that you know. That's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and always be you. I'll see you in the next one.